Welcome to our STEM Fair presentation. Our STEM Fair coordinator is Gary Werner, so he's going to get us started off with our explanation of STEM Fair and how we can help and you can help your children to successfully participate in the STEM Fair this year.
Okay, and obviously I'm sure all of you know that's Mrs. Wellen, who's our librarian, and she's really helpful because she does other things like research workshops, and when I go to her I say, I need a book on whatever it is, she's got it for me within the hour, which is amazing. Alright, so what are we here to talk about? Obviously we're here to talk about the STEM Fair. Can anyone tell me what STEM stands for? Science, technology, engineering, and math. And it's the E that most students don't do. It's the engineering projects they don't do a lot of, and those are, in my opinion, the coolest ones and the ones that they really get the most out of. Science is good, and technology, math, you don't really see a lot of those projects. Those are really difficult to do. So what do? It's to make it authentic and real world. Okay, we want them to do something that's actually useful. If they can't talk about the project, they shouldn't be doing it. Okay, I've had students in the past say, can you read this to me? It's the photosynthesis, I don't know. And that's not what we want. We want something they can talk about. And I've told the kids that simple is good. Simple is not bad. In fact, some of the best ideas in science are simple. And so they don't have to do something that's so complex and elaborate that they can never ever possibly do it. And you've got to go to the laboratory at Johns Hopkins to just get that little thing done, and it's like, no, do simple, do simple. Do something that's fun. It's a lot of work, it really is, but it is fun, okay? So, first step, Mrs. Well.
All right, our first step is that your child needs to choose a topic that interests them. STEM Fair is very near and dear to my heart. I have a daughter who's graduating from Ohio State with a chemistry degree this year, and she's going on to get her PhD in chemistry. And we need to get our kids interested. It was a teacher at Perry Hall High School that turned her on to chemistry, and she has stuck with it all the way through. If it weren't for that spark that she got that time, I don't know what she'd be doing right now, but it probably wouldn't be chemistry. So parents and teachers and things we expose our children to do can be that spark to get them interested in a subject. It might be a one-time thing that gets them going on a lifetime in science or math or technology, engineering, and that's where the jobs are for our kids. So we need to get them to choose something that interests them so they want to do it. They want to investigate it, or they want to do an engineering project where they try to build something and see if it works, see if they can build a bridge that would hold a certain amount of weight, or whatever it is they decide to do. So we want to get them really interested in it by doing a topic that they would like to. And in front of you, you have this chart about whether it's an experimental or observational type of a project, and you can follow that along yourself and with your child to go through the steps in picking a topic. Is it going to work for STEM Fair? So the flow chart is meant to help you and them to get to that point where what we've decided to do is something that will work for STEM.
And let me just piggyback on that. Of the two types, experimental is the, quote, easier of the two. In other words, it's much easier to test something than it is to just sit there and observe. Observational projects are very doable, but to be honest, they're kind of boring because you have to sit for a long period of time to get an appropriate sample size. Not impossible, but they can't interact at all. They have to sit there and just watch. It's like telling them, I'm going to watch a red light and see how many times people go through to see if that increases the amount of traffic accidents or something like that, or whatever. That's not probably what they're going to be interested in. They can do that, but experimental is probably where I would say 95% of them are going to be. Having said that, they cannot do a demonstration. They can't do a, let me do a Mythbusters thing and show it to you. That's not experimental. It's got to be a test. Something like, how does this affect this? Okay, how does the shape of an airplane affect its aerodynamics? Now, I know that's a little higher level, but it's that kind of thing. How does the design of a bridge affect its tensile strength, or whatever it happens to be? It's got to be something where they can do a test. It can't be, let me build you a model of the solar system and let me show it to you. That's not what we want.
Can you give us an example of like 2 observational projects that kids have done?
In my 5 years of doing it, I don't think I've ever had an observational project. And there have been some that go to the county fair, they don't do very well. Not because it's impossible, just because it's more complicated. There's more steps, because you got to get a sample size and you have to draw inferences, and then you have to say, why did I think this happened, and it's just more complicated. So we don't want to exclude it because it is valid scientific, but it's probably not what a 4th or 5th grade student is going to enjoy, probably. Second step, so after they got the topic, I know what I want to do. This sounds really good to me. Mom and Dad say I can do it because I'm not going to blow up the house, because I'm not allowed to do anything with explosives either. We have to determine what type of project it is, because they have to do a question. Okay? And it's got to be something like, and it's on the very next page in your packet, it needs to be what's called a testable question. When we teach the kids, it should follow the format of, how does blank affect blank? And the 2 blanks are their variables. They're dependent, independent variables. Okay? So how does the thing I'm looking at or trying to test, how is that affected by the thing I'm trying to change? Whether that's temperature or height or what I give to plants. But we see so many plants. I'm going to give some sugar, I'm going to give some salt, and I wonder which one's going to die. Okay, if that's all you can do, then do it. I'm saying you can't do it. I'd rather them do something than nothing, but see that one a lot. Also, shining a penny. Yes, we know lemon juice will shine a penny. It will do that. The question is going to be one that leads to an experiment, which is going to give us quantitative data. We want quantitative more than qualitative. Not that they can't do qualitative, but quantitative is really the name of the game. We want numbers. We want data. Okay? My bridge design was able to hold 5 pounds for 4.5 minutes or 3.5 minutes. Not, my bridge was able to hold some weight. Okay? Or it worked pretty good. We want numbers, if at all possible. The question can't be a yes/no. Is Pluto a planet anymore? Nope, sorry, it's not. It's a dwarf planet. Okay? Can't do questions like that. Can't be a demonstration. Let me build this car and show you how fast it goes. No, can't be that either. But you can change those very easily into ones that are good. How does like tire size affect the friction on the car? That could be one. So it can be very easily changed. Just a little tweak. And this is real big, and we're making a big deal out of this year. Can't be something that I can just do a simple Google search and get the answer. Can they do a Google search to get inspiration? Yes, that's great. But can it give them an answer? No, because they already know the answer. So it's got to be something where they're interested and they want to find out, how can I do a test to find the answer? Resources.
Okay. There are a lot of places that you can go to look for information to help your students. The Office of Science has a great site that you can go to just through BCPS, and you would click on offices and go to science and go to their STEM page, and that has lots of links on it. You can sit down with your child, just take a look through it, do it in a casual way with them to see if you can spark some interest in something that they see. There are some suggestions, some ideas, projects that they would see, might see one and say, oh, that would be kind of cool, I'd like to try that.
And
wonder if we could, if that's doable, and make sure it's something that's doable for you in your setting at home.
And to piggyback on that, that first website walks them through every single step and gives examples. Just so you know.
And then Discovery Education has a website that has project ideas as well. And then another one is Grand Challenges of Engineering. And that's a little higher level. The engineering projects tend to be a little higher level. So we definitely have some students at Gunpowder who would be very capable of stepping it up a notch to do something like that. And it's worth taking a look to see. So these are these on a handout?
What we're going to do is we're going to put this this presentation, we're going to give it to I think Chris Hagan, who's in charge of the PTA website, so it's there as a resource for you.
You'll have the links.
We're also recording this, so if you want to tell anyone who wasn't here, they can watch it, because we're going to put it up there too. Okay. All right.
All right. Research. This is my area. I want to show you a sample project. This is a project on steroids. Now, how do I?
Hit the escape button.
Okay. All right. This is something that I've shown the students to get them thinking about STEM fair. It was a challenge that Coca-Cola did. A lot of companies will do this, especially with college students, and get them to be involved in a project to win money for their school. And I was sent this by another librarian, and I thought, boy, this could really motivate our kids. So I just want to show it to you. It's only 3 minutes long, and they loved it.
Hey guys, I'm Justine.
And I'm Josh, aka the Computer Nerd 01.
Coca-Cola asked us to come up with the most outrageous way to share a Coke.
We came up with a bunch of great ideas. We decided to do them all in one epic machine.
So we found a bunch of engineering students to make it happen.
There's only one problem. We gotta get this thing done by the end of finals. It's crunch
They
time.
understand the scientific method and experiment,
Hey, can we
but
use
not
that?
quite what does engineering mean. And this seemed like such a good example for them.
This trucks are heavy!
What are they doing?
Those will be good. We can use those.
We got more tools. Is it good?
Yeah, good, go.
Alright, I'm gonna plug it in first. That would be good. Cool. Sweet.
Okay, roll it up.
Yeah, towards you.
Let's test it out. Trust me, it'll work.
Holy sick! This guy right here is about to go flying into the sky. Can't wait.
Who doesn't love angry nerds?
We were like down to the wire. I'm having a ton of issues with this earlier in the day, but we might have got them figured out.
Go! Yeah, I think that'll work. Is everybody ready? All right! 3, 2, 1! Does anybody else want a Coke?
Okay, now,
So, any takers on that one? No? No airplane hangers in the...
there's a couple of reasons that would not work at Gunpowder. One, it's massive, and it really is more of a Rube Goldberg kind of a
Right.
project. But pieces of that, if you wanted to, like Mr. Warner said, build airplanes and test the wingspan and see
Right.
which one went the furthest, or like a lot of the kids that are in Scouts and build the derby cars. How about if I changed the wheels and tried different kind on the same inclined plane and
Just something
which
simple.
would go faster?
Something simple.
What is it that makes something go faster or
Exactly.
slower or stay in the air longer? Those kinds of things to try. Now, one of the things that often stumbles the kids, and a reason a project would not go on, is that they don't have the research piece. And that's often a big question. What do I research? I just want to build my airplanes and see if they fly. I don't know what to research. Well, for that particular project, I asked the students, okay, I want to do that, but I have to do the research first. What do I do? Well, you do things like you research what are pulleys for and what do they do. You research inclined planes and wedges and how do they work. you research force and motion and find out a little bit of background information. The research portion of the STEM Fair project does not need to be long. It just needs to give the kids some background information about what they're going to be using, whether they're going to be doing something with aerodynamics or do something with inclined planes or with friction, so that they understand what friction is, understand aerodynamics, the definition, be able to say the word, and have a little bit of background. They can do the research with books or on the internet. We have plenty of places to go that are fee-based databases that we have that are a lot better than Googling it. And they can get the information they need. The report, a page. It doesn't need to be long.
We're talking maybe 3 paragraphs,
yeah,
maybe.
It's about a page with some of that background information, explaining their particular things they're going to use in their project, and it helps them to then formulate their hypothesis. That's what the research is supposed to do. I know enough about force and motion that I can now make my hypothesis, my educated guess about what I think is going to happen when I do this. When I build this car, or I build this plane, or I feed these plants their salt and sugar and orange juice diet for 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is, I now have some background and I can make an informed decision. I can make that hypothesis. So that's all the research needs to be. Now last year I tried for the first time offering a research workshop for the kids to stay after school and do the research with me. And we'll do that again this year. We had 2 sessions. I think I'll probably have 3 this time. It would be nice to have a little bit more opportunity for them to see it all the way through. Do the research, take their notes, write them into paragraphs, and even have a chance to type it out and have that piece all done before they start their project. So the research piece, don't let it be intimidating, and don't let your kids panic about that and say, well, I can't do a project, because you got to look stuff up and you got to write stuff down. Don't let that be a reason not to do a STEM Fair project. It's not meant to be a stumbling point in the project, and we can make it easier for them. As long as they know their topic and what it is they want to do, their question, we can figure out what we need to research together and do that portion.
And Ms. Wellen, where do we find the bibliography form that the school wants? 'Cause we
Okay,
get bingo
yes. When they write their report, and we'll go through this with the students as well, they're going to have lessons on this in the classroom and in the library about how to do the research report, how to put it together with your subtopic A and B. For example, if you're doing something with inclined planes and force and motion, we would have a paragraph on each of the different parts of our project. For the bibliography, there's several ways you can do it. There's online tools now, even right in Microsoft Word, and I can show them exactly how to do that. And I also make for them a form. I have simplified it into a fill in the blank, and we accept this for them. They just have to fill in the blank. It tells them exactly what to put in there, the date, the title. If a student were to do a project and hand this in and be asked to go to the next step, I would sit with them and we'll type it out so that it's not the fill-in form, because they'd have to have it actually typed down in ABC order. But this is acceptable for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And no one's gonna win or not win because of a period or a colon or something.
But I've made it as simple as I can for them, so it's just fill in the blank.
There's got to be a bibliography there, but it's not going to keep them from winning or losing.
Right. And a lot of our online databases now, when they click on an article and read the article and use some information from it, they now have right at the bottom the format, and they can just copy it and paste it. Yeah. So we've tried to really simplify that for them, because it's a nightmare. Even when you're in college, it's the worst thing. Like, oh, I have to bibliography.
Yeah, we don't care if it's MLA, APA, APA 6th edition, APA 7th edition, Turavia in Chicago, or does what a conglomeration of all of them. Just as long as we know that you didn't steal the ideas, it's all good. So.
I've got a question. On the conclusion, how should it be stated? I mean, should it be stating what it's going to yield on your experimentation or observation, or just what you found on the research?
Basically, this needs to be a summary of here's everything I've found and tie it into the question. So my question was, how does the wingspan affect the length of an airplane or flight? Here's what I found, here's how it applies to that. That's it. I found that the longer the wingspan, the more mass it has, so the faster it's going to drop. But also I found Bernoulli's principle, which they're not going to do
It's
that.
almost,
It's just, here's what I found, and this is how it relates to my question.
it's pretty much their hypothesis, but stated
Right.
in more of their own words, and not the formal format of, the
Correct.
hypothesis, the way it has to be stated this and then that. It's more of their own words for the conclusion, but they're gonna reword that, and it's gonna become their hypothesis for the project.
And everything for the STEM fair, in 4th grade they do a unit called Too Hot to Handle. They walk them through step by step, and we do a model project. In 5th grade we do pendulums, swing as pendulums do. We go step by step when we do a model project with them. So this is everything that they will learn in school as well before the STEM fair. So they all have had it, in 5th grade they'll have had it twice, 4th and 5th, and in 4th grade they'll have had it before the STEM fair. So this is everything that they're gonna have already learned in school. So this won't be here, try it, we haven't taught you. This goes directly hand in hand with what they learn in school. So, okay. All right. So, well, I just said what the first one said. Almost like I made this thing. Okay, cool. All right. The STEM Fair, here's the date. It's April 18th, 2013. Okay. The open house is from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. The judging will take place from 4 to 5. We are thinking of changing up a little bit before the students didn't have to be there to talk to the judges. Since interviewing is a big part now, we want to make sure they can actually talk about it. We're thinking, and this is not final yet, but we're thinking of having the students be there for not the whole hour, but they need to talk to the judge to be interviewed. Because if they were to go on, they're going to meet someone they don't know, and they're going to have to talk about it. So we want to prepare them for that. And really, that's the whole point of the science project, is they should talk about it. They should want to show, look at all this work I did. This is so cool. Look what I learned. And even if it doesn't work, look what I learned from my mistake, because science is more about failure than success. And I tell them about Thomas Edison getting a light bulb wrong hundreds of times before you ever get it right. And they're like, wow, so I can make a mistake? Yes, but not on purpose. Okay, you do want to try to achieve your goal, but mistakes are okay, because sometimes kids like, it didn't work, my plant died. Well, you did feed it salt water, but it's okay to not get the result you thought. That's science. Okay. In December and January, well, this is when it was in. We were planning this presentation in November. Now is the perfect time to start getting ideas. In my class, we've been doing a bunch of little science fair ideas in the morning. I don't know if any of your kids have told you about them. Some of the things we've done with straw rockets and bridges and marshmallows and spaghetti and trees, and we do all kinds of weird things in my room. This is the time to start thinking about going to the websites and generating ideas. Packets are going to come home, I believe, the second week in February. And every kid is going to get one in 4th and 5th grade. It is required for students who are either in 4th grade are diagnostically placed, which means we're considering them from GT, and 5th grade GT have to do it. Everyone else is optional. But the good news is, for those it's optional, it's extra credit. So no matter how well or, quote, poorly they do, it will help them. Now, GT students, it's factored into their grade because it's a required piece. But everyone else, it's extra credit. Full beans. You don't get penalized no matter what you do. So do something, because you're going to get extra credit for it. And I also tell them the PTA always has cake or cookies, and they all get excited about that. So there'll be cake and cookies. Hopefully. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn for the PTA, but hopefully, because if not, I'll give them cake and cookies. Yeah, and then Mrs. Welland is going to be working with them. She does a sample STEM fair project. I think last year you did composting.
Yes. I walk through a project with them as they come to library each week. I have lots of books with lots of suggestions. I encourage them to check them out starting next week and just starting to take a look. What might be a good idea? Where can I get an idea? So they're welcome to check those out. When we get to the point where they've made a decision and they need some books to do some research, they're allowed to check out extra books those weeks and keep them for as long as they need them, if they need them for research. We also go back over the databases that are available and how not to Google information for their project. I hope it's still there. I always have them Google octopus, and if you Google, at least last year, if you Google octopus, one of the very first things that comes up is this beautiful looking website about the Pacific Northwest octopus in a pine tree, and the pictures are great, and the information all looks great. And they look at it for a couple minutes, and then they say, wait a minute, there's an octopus that lives in a pine tree? No, there's not. And that is why you have to be very careful when you Google it. Because we talk about, well, what do you think the things that came up first would be the most relevant? Are they the ones we should use? Oh yeah, if it's at the top, that's probably the best. And it's from Google, so that's probably good. So we say, go use our databases that the county pays for you to have available 24/7, and it's just like going into a library. It's a virtual library for them. It is loaded with information and research and journals and all kinds of things appropriate for their level on the elementary level, and they can get any information they need from there. So we'll review that, how to access those from home, very easy, and they'll be ready. They'll know where to go to get their information.
So just to summarize, what do we do from here? Step one, think of an idea. Think of something that they want to do. Make sure that it's something you can do at home. That's not going to pull out your hair. Something simple, okay? Simple is best, and it needs to interest them. If they have any questions about, can I do this or not, because we're going to go over all that when the packets come home in February, just have them ask somebody. Have them ask me. I'll answer all questions. You can email me. All of you can email me, and I'll be happy to answer, okay?
Same here.
So things they can't do, they can't test on humans, can't test on anything with a backbone, okay? I did, honest to God, have a kid say, I want to see what happens if I do and don't give Grandpa's heart medicine. No, no. I also had a kid want to put in a no parking sign, just install it by Perryville High School to see how many people would park there. No, you can't put parking signs. And no, nothing with the law. Don't do that, okay? If it doesn't seem like a good idea, it's not. Don't do it. So nothing with vertebrates, okay? Nothing involving feeding things, okay? Nothing involving firearms. Had some of those. Nothing involving things that go boom. Nothing involving mold or bacteria, because that's dangerous, okay? And some other little kid may see it and say, oh, that's cool. I want to see how long it takes for that bread to get blue, and then let me see what it tastes like. Okay, no mold, no fungus, nothing like that. It doesn't even matter if you work at Johns Hopkins and you have a controlled lab, and I know all the procedures, great. But the other kid who sees it doesn't, and they may want to do it, and we don't want to do that. So does it limit us a little bit? Yes. Is there tons still they can do? Sure, there's still tons, okay? So once they think of an idea, start researching. Even now is a good time to start researching, and we're more than available to help them with that. Okay? Any questions? Okay. As a parting gift, okay, we have step-by-step instructions. We actually give this to the 5th grade students, but you get this because you're here, that walk them through how do I make a sample backboard project. Because a lot of kids will do fantastic science, but they will lose points or not even be eligible to go onto the county level because they don't do the backboard correctly. So we're giving you this so that you know, here's where the materials go, here's where the hypothesis goes, here's where the question goes, here's where fill in the blank goes. Because that's the easy part. The hard part's doing the science and typing it all up. The easy part is putting it in the right spot, but you'd be amazed at how many students don't put it in the right spot and then lose buku points for that. So please get the easy part right. It's like I tell the kids, you did all the work, put your name on the paper so you can get credit for it. If you're going to do the science fair project, put it in the right spot. So this walks you through exactly where to put it. And it's got a little cutout pieces so that you and your kids can actually cut it out and
Correct.
put it on like a file folder or a piece of construction paper so you know what it's supposed to look like.
And if they need help with typing things out, if you're having computer issues at home and they cannot get things looking the way they want or graphs the way they want, we'd be glad to help them with that. I can stay after with somebody, be here early with somebody, or meet them at lunchtime, and we can work any of those things out. Those things happen where you have glitches with computers or something not working and they need it, they want it. We can easily work on that. Just let us know.
Okay. Any questions?
Good? We're all gonna have great projects.
Yeah.
Who's doing your judging for you?
We get outside judges, and I haven't lined up too many of them yet because it's still a little far out. Are you saying you want to judge?
Well, no, I have some college students that might go.
That would be great.
Mhm.
That would be
That'd be
fantastic.
wonderful.
I teach 11 until 5:30, so I don't know that I could be here to judge, but I could probably send some students.
That'd be absolutely fantastic. Let's talk afterwards, and we'll get you my email address. I've had everyone down to high school seniors come and judge. So yeah, that'd be great. If they can read a set of directions, they can judge. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay. I just want to end by saying Gunpowder has had a history of excellent science projects in the last 5 years. We've been in first or second place in the county for the last 5 years.
Awesome.
We have rocked it. So we are going to continue to rock it because we have great kids and we have fantastic parents who are very supportive. And I know sometimes you are up to the wee hours of the night. This darn thing just won't work. Why did you pick something like this? Thank you in advance. Thank you very much for supporting them. Okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Please stay for the PTA meetings. If you have